Hello, hello. How are you?
Great.
Excellent.
Nice to see
Good,
you
good.
again, Denise.
Thank you. And I would like to welcome everyone to our who are watching this Facebook Live. My name is Denise Bilil, and we're doing a number 6 episode of It's All Good. Look who's here for a chat. And the reason why it's called It's All Good because, simply because it's my favorite cup. So it's not more, and beside the fact that it's my favorite cup, it's also a perfect attitude that regardless of what happened, it's all good. No judgment, blameless discernment. Just say, hey, it's all good. Who knows what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, what life's going to bring us. It's all good.
I love it.
Thank you. And what I would like to propose for the people that are watching us is if you could put in the chat, say hello. If you're watching this the video in replay, do hashtag replay, or just say, hey, replay, and where you're from. And then please watch. There's going to be a very interesting conversation with Michelle and Robin. And we'll talk about autism. So let me introduce Michelle and Robin. I have a little bio here that I'll read from them. And let's look at that. And first of all, the theme of our talk today is autism, a journey to the soul of autism, new perspective and autism. So I'm really excited to learn more about that. But Michelle, she started at 17 years old at a school for autism in 1977, while still in high school. She got her bachelor degree in New York University, New York, and where she studied autism and expressive art. Michelle got her master's degree at Teachers College, Columbia University, with a specialty in autism and adolescence. She worked in and ran residential facility for the first 10 years and taught in the classroom for the next 30 years. Her focus was young adult and vocational training. Now let's hear about Robin. Robin's career began as an actor, director throughout the country, Scotland and off-Broadway, New York. She got her bachelor degree and Stevens College Academy of the Arts. Robin earned a master's degree in divinity at Episcopal Divinity School while working at the church. Robin volunteered in Michelle's autism classroom, creating 3 theater activities and directing play for a student. She was hired by the special ed director the next year as a special education teacher and drama director for the high school for the next 20 years. Both Michelle and Robin retired from teaching to build their Legal Shield business full-time and began writing career part-time. They have authored their first book, A Journey to the Soul of Autism, and are about to complete their first play, Behind the Mask, A Journey to the Soul of Autism. Wow, I'm so thrilled to be interviewing you today, ladies. It's going to be such a wonderful topic to talk about. So welcome, Michelle and Robin. Would you like to add a little bit about that? I'll give you a few minutes to talk about yourself.
No, I think you covered it beautifully.
That was
Thank
perfect.
you.
Perfect.
I'm impressed with myself.
Well, you should be. You girls should be, because
Until you described it.
it's amazing what you girls have done and accomplished. And I'm curious, Robin, about playing on Broadway. You came from Scotland to play on Broadway. That must have been quite an excitement at the time.
Quite an excitement. Yes. And it was my dream always to act in New York, however far I got. It's just that I would have stayed. It's just that, you still don't make much money, whether you're on Broadway or off Broadway.
Absolutely.
So
It's almost like volunteer work in some ways.
In some ways it is, really.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend in Seattle that used to do acting, and they were getting paid, I don't know. When they were actually playing, it was very nothing. Like they would rehearse for months, almost no pay, and then finally the play would come and they get paid peanuts, and then thank you so much, bye. And we're like, oh my God, there's so much ingratitude into that, Like
Oh, it's true.
you guys are putting so much work into that, but that it's very exciting. Like what you can talk in turn or not together, but what brought you from like all the Michelle, you kind of led into autism as you went through the way, but what about you, Robin? What brought you to career in autism? And Michelle, also, why did you start being interested in autism at the age of 17? So I'll leave you to answer that.
Denise, since Michelle really did start at 17, I started at 15 in theater, but you asked about autism. I'd like Michelle to start this.
Sure. So, I actually started my career in autism as a result of theater. I was a very shy, very kind of geeky kid in school, didn't have a lot of friends, and I found a safe place in the theater department, because anybody can fit in. And fortunately, I knew I had no talent for acting, or I would have been a professional actress a professional waitress today, right? If I had an acting career, right? I didn't have any talent, but it was my family, it was my community. But what was really cool, and this is back in the 70s, nobody knew what autism was. But there was a tiny little school, a few towns over from where I lived, and one of the classmates, he was a senior, I think I was in 10th grade at the time, he was working at the school. And he arranged with our teacher to do a project where we did a reading of The Little Red Hen in sign language, right? In sign language. Yeah. And so that was one role I was able to do well. I didn't have to talk. I didn't have to act. Just had to move my hands, wear a cute little outfit, and sign, right? And I just remember walking in the room and feeling this buzz and feeling this energy and a spiritual connection to this group of kids that could care less what I was doing on stage, but had magic. There was magic in the room for me. And I just knew I wanted to be part of this community for the rest of my life. And that's how I got started. I started working the next year in their summer camp program, their Saturday program. They had a bunch of stuff. I actually ran their group home for a while. So that's how I got my start.
Wow, that's amazing. Hold on, I have to double question on that. Like sign language, did you have to learn sign language in order to do that play, or did you know it already?
There were the school that I got the job at we did the little play for, they taught sign language courses because at the time sign language was the communication, the nonverbal communication of choice before they started using picture communication.
Yeah.
And so that school was actually teaching the classes like once or twice a year. But my classmate taught me the sign language for the story.
Oh, cool. And Robin?
So for me, it's a little bit different in that I had just got my master's from the Episcopal Divinity School, right? Ooh, yeah, it's a hard word, definitely. And I was hoping to go into the chaplaincy for young people, teenagers, younger people. And along the way, I thought, well, I've met this woman. She's working with autism. I'll volunteer. I volunteered to help the special needs and autistic youth and thought, well, let's bring my skill, which is theater, into it and help them see that drama can be a vehicle for finding out who they are,
absolutely.
How they can talk, speak.
A release, right? It's kind of a release in some way.
That's it. Very good. It's a release. And sure enough, after about 3 months, I'd directed the Christmas play, and the special education director said, I don't know if you want to, but you're hired.
That's super cool.
I had no degree or any certificate of teaching or anything. So that's how I got started in my career of 20 years.
And it was really great for me because because I had studied and did a 2-year, I did a 2-year study of autism and expressive arts when I was at NYU,
Yeah.
but then got caught up in teaching in the systems and having, to follow all these rules. And for her to come into the classroom and bring the arts into that room, that was another experience of magic.
Wow, that's super cool. That's super awesome. Teamwork, that's great. And I can see you've been together ever since.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're going to hear about that one.
So tell me, how are you both alike and how are you different?
Okay. Well, I'm going to do this one a little differently. I'm not going to start with alike. I'm going to start with different. Okay. So we're different in the sense that once we did start teaching together, I found that I loved, maybe it was the theater, I don't know. I loved working with the higher functioning students who were autistic. They still had, a lot of difficulties, but they had some kind of sense, or I had a sense of where they wanted to be, where they wanted to go. And a great example is a young man who was put in the special needs class with me. And after 3 years, 2 years, I got him out of special education class. And he has his high school diploma now and actually went to the community college.
Yep.
Wow, that's super cool.
So he was the first child to do that in this school. And I thought, okay, this is the area I want to work in. And we're different in that way. And also I used a lot of theater in my classes, public speaking classes, drama classes, all for them not to become actors, but for them to find out, ooh, I could do this, and I've always wanted to do that, and maybe I could build cars, but I could do it if I learn how to speak.
Yeah, because theater is a good mean of expression, right?
Yeah.
Like they can express themselves in so many ways while acting or working with creative art and stuff like that. So I think that's super cool, because I feel that's what might be missing, right? A lot of the time for people with autism and not finding the relief valve, or how can I express myself? I have needs, I have things to say and to share to the world, but I don't know how to do that, right?
Social skills, Denise.
Yeah. A lot of people expect them just to speak, but there's so many ways. Speaking is one, of course, and it's probably making assumption here, but you can reply to that. But it's probably helping them learning plays and stuff and acting. It sort of allow them to be able to speak in their own ways, right?
Exactly. Bingo.
Yeah.
Well said. Well
Yeah.
said.
And I'll explain to you in a minute how I'm different from how she worked. But what I want to say to what Robin did with her students is, a lot of our kids get speech therapy. It's part of their program. And that's an important process of development, but it's mechanical and it's not always fun, right? Because the kids are like, it's this expectation that I have to perform, I have to do a certain thing. So it's not that we don't want to include that. Obviously, we want to keep the speech therapy program in place. But my hope is that more teachers and families and parents would integrate the theater and the public speaking, because the kids could take what they were learning from their therapists, but Robin was able to make it fun.
Yeah,
And
exactly. That's the whole thing, right?
Progress.
Yeah.
And to help them find themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So Michelle, how are you different or alike?
So I am so different because I loved working with the most challenging, disruptive,
She did.
and aggressive kids on the planet.
Wow.
Because
Robin is like, oh, not me.
I know, I know.
Oh,
And so, because for me, I really, one of our book starts with, if you focus on the autism, you can't see the person. And the world focuses on the autism.
Yeah.
And I tried to see beyond that to see the person.
Mm.
And all of their behaviors were simply their dialogue with me.
Mhm.
I didn't see it as scary, although I got scared sometimes. I'm not going to be like, I'm not that weird. I got scared.
Well, you got attacked.
I got attacked a few times.
Yeah.
But even when I got attacked, it was really more about, wow, what did that person need to tell me?
Yeah.
And
What is he trying to say here? Yeah.
Right. So that's how we were different. And I was blessed to just have great training the first 20 years of my career. And I think my heart was in the right place. And so I found that I had a lot of success with these kids.
And you taught me a lot.
Yeah. Well, we taught each other a lot, actually. Because if the kids started talking to me, I'm like, wait a minute, no, and I need somebody who's like throwing a table right now. That was my comfort zone.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I think that's pretty amazing. I can hear what you're saying, Michelle, in a sense that if a kid's put a tantrum, well, there's a reason. Like in any time, parents that are listening right now, even if your kids don't have autism, if they're pulling up a tantrum, there's a reason. There's go to the source, and instead of screaming at them and putting them in the room, like say, okay, what is it that you want? Right? It's like there's something that they can express themselves properly to get their word across. So that's super cool. And how are you alike?
I think I'll start, but you definitely share your thoughts. But I really know in my heart we're alike in that we see each child and young adult from the mindset of respect, and seeing them for their potential, not their limitations.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think we handicap the disabled in our systems, and I know that we're alike in that we always see the positive, the potential.
Yes. And
That makes a big difference.
what I think we both have, I mean, yes, I did learn a lot from Michelle, and we do differ in a lot of ways, but I agreed the moment we walked into the classroom, the first thing we both wanted to do was to look at the needs of the students first. Take the books in our hands of curriculum, throw them out, and go to the homes of each student to find out what they needed. And when she agreed, we went into that class for 13 years together.
Yeah.
Wow.
And worked together.
That's super cool. And I can see that, Robin, with your artistic background, that curriculum, I don't think so. Let's be creative. Let's play. Who cares about the test at the end of the year? Do you want your child to be more outgoing and outspoken and learn something, or let's play, right?
Yes.
That's super cool. But then you girls got retired, you ladies got retired, and then you decide to write a book. Tell me about that. And then a play, for a matter. So tell me about those.
Well, because we were so blessed to work not just in the same school district, but literally in the same classroom for at least 15 years, but always but same district for 20. And then drove back and forth every day, which was like a 2 to 3 hour round trip drive. Every single day, we could talk to each other about our experiences, our challenges, and help each other solve problems, and just give each other feedback on, even though my specialty was lower functioning and her specialty was higher functioning, we still could give each other great tips. And so at one point we just realized that now that we weren't going to have to go to a classroom every day, that we had the time freedom to kind of develop our own schedule in building our business, we decided to write a book on our experiences.
Yes.
Oh, cool. So the book, I haven't read the book, but the book is about It's about experiences, things you went through as you through your experience and all that. So bring back like case study and then explaining
Yeah.
what's going on. And oh, that's super cool. That's super cool.
Yep.
And what the play? How about the play? What brought you to
Oh,
the
that's
play?
fun
And is
too.
the play for the student with autism to be in, or it's a play to play on Broadway and people to learn more about autism? What's the
Okay.
difference?
Okay. Well, the story of the play is fun because I had no idea that Michelle had this kind of thing in her mind, and she did. She'd been thinking since she was very young that she thought it would be great to do a play. And then she told me, and this was only a few years ago, 3 years ago, she said on the sofa, you know, I started to write a play about autism. And I said, you know, we've been together 27
I
years.
know. It's like, and you didn't think of telling me before now?
I said, where is it? And she said, oh, no, I lost it. And of course, my heart sunk to the bottom. And I said, well, tell me what it's about. We'll start over. She told me what it was about in her mind.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
the
said,
idea.
okay, that's it. We finished the book. We published the book. Let's start the play. You start writing down your ideas. Let's go for it. And that's how the play got started.
Wow, that's super cool. And how do you lose a play? I mean,
Well, they intended it that way so that we could write it together.
oh, cool. That's awesome. And so as now author of a book and then writer of a play, so what's your goal? What are you expecting to achieve in the future with that?
You know, my goal, I think our goal is to try to change mindset. There's so much negative mindset around individuals on whatever spectrum they might live. Our focus is autism, but we're really speaking to whatever spectrum somebody might be on in terms of any type of physical or mental challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just such a negative mindset. And I'll talk a little bit more about this at the end, but I think, or I know that my hope and my goal is to change that, is to get the world to see the beauty and the potential and the gift. And when they see an individual in the community in a meltdown, no more judgment.
Yeah.
Show compassion, show love. Don't judge that parent. Show love to that parent and whatever you can. And I think that's it.
Well, and I agree. That's my message, my goal too. But my other goal is to get this message out in a wider way than audiences and theaters, which of course we're going to do. But I want to take it to the educational levels, the system, public school system, and I want to take it to organizations. Maybe it's parents, maybe the organization is for autism.
Yeah.
Autism Speaks, whatever. Anywhere this message needs to be shared, as a writer, I want to take it there.
Cool.
And I want to try for us to be a voice for the voiceless.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
definitely, and help people really understand autism, because people, let's say me, I never had an autism child. I don't know any autism person. And then let's say I walk into a restaurant and then there's a parent with their kids and he's autism and he's acting out. He's playing his life. He's just being who he is. But me as an outsider, you know, I wouldn't, but a person as an outsider could be like judging, oh, can you just control your kids and this and that without understanding what's going on, right? Why do you let him be so troublesome and this and that? I can see it happening, right?
Yeah.
But if you're aware of autism, if you understand autism, and if you read Michelle's book, then you will be better placed to understand what's actually going on and have a lot more compassion, right?
Yes. And just so that you know, sort of a little difference between like the book and the play. So the book is the beginning of a series.
Yes.
We are going to create a series, which is A Journey to the Soul of Autism. So the
Yeah.
first book is I Am David, and David is the adult son of our good friend, and he did the art for the cover.
Oh,
And
cool.
he was labeled retarded and nonverbal and developmentally delayed. But if you go search him on social media, he's an incredibly talented artist. He
Wow.
has phenomenal speech abilities.
Yeah.
So it's, so that's why, that's the beginning. And so it's the voice of David. Then the rest of our books are going to be like, I Am Parent, A Journey to the Soul of Autism.
Yeah,
I Am
yeah,
Teacher,
yeah.
A Journey to the Soul of Autism.
I Am Sibling.
I Am Sibling. And those are, like you had mentioned earlier, case studies. It's us sharing the spiritual journey of
Mhm.
with the positive mindset.
It's kind of
Wow.
like chicken soup for the soul.
Yeah,
Right.
that's exactly what I had in mind when you were saying that. Like it's being able to associate with different area, but in regard to autism, and I think that's an amazing goal.
Yes.
And for the play, I don't think you answered that question. Like, who's going to be like, is it like to play, like, for example, on Broadway? So there's going to be actor that's going to play.
I hope so.
Yeah, that'll be cool, eh? But
Yeah.
it's like to have different, like, sell the play in a sense, like, like promote the play, and then you get actor to play it, and then you put it in different,
Well-
theaters and stuff. And
Well, I don't think, Denise, that we have come that far yet. Our next step, because we are almost finished, and we've already written the list, is
Yeah.
to get a list of people, teachers, aides, who have worked with the students we're writing about.
okay.
And remember, this has been over a period of 20 years.
Yeah.
And so there's some students who've come and gone, and yet they're in our play, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
getting certain people that worked with them to fill in the gaps that we don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Will add meat to the part. As far as whether we're going to actually have autistic people play that, we don't know, in the sense that first we have to get the workers in to fill in the meat.
Of course.
My guess is that the people auditioning will be neurotypical.
But people with autism or anybody on the spectrum would be
Welcome to try out.
Absolutely. And so our goal is to make it a more professional play. And the play is different than our book series in that it's going to be a little bit more edgy and a little bit more in your face.
Mhm.
And it's going to be a series of behavioral expressions.
Okay.
Some of them are going to be a little intense,
Out there.
overwhelming,
Yeah.
almost disturbing. And each one of those expressive moments or outbursts is going to be followed by a monologue that describes what was going on inside.
Yeah. Oh, that's super cool. That's awesome.
So, again, to try to get people to find more compassion and understand there's a reason for whatever's going on in that person's life.
And also for parents, just functionally, to be able to see, oh, here's what those teachers are doing.
Mm-hmm.
They see there's a solution
Right.
that
Mhm,
works
mhm.
with the student and works with the teacher and the family.
Yeah.
And our protagonist is the mother, represents parents. Our heart really goes out to families.
Yeah.
And so we really want the world to have a better understanding of what, teachers go through, but mostly what families are going through.
Mhm.
And so we really want this to become a professional production. We would love it if it made it to Broadway.
That would be cool for sure. But to follow back on what you girls was just talking about is like, what do you suggest for people do to move forward? Like after a year and a half of lockdown, a lot of those kids didn't really socialize because people didn't mingle and stuff like that, and then they have problem like juggling with parenting, working, teaching, monitoring, online learning, and all of that. Like there's been a lot on their plate in the last, 18 months, coming up to 2 years now. So what's your suggestion for these people?
Well, in a perfect world, and I think that we have the potential as humanity to get close to that, is to really come together, parents, teachers, administrators, family members, and really take an honest look of how our educational system did not prepare our kids or our families for this at all. That, we have this concept of teaching to the test, or teaching the curriculum, or teaching to whatever the rules are. And I really believe that we need to rethink that. We need to take an honest look at what we've done, the reality check of what we've seen in the last year and a half, and truly try to make some changes. And because I know so many families, parents that are really on holding on by a string. And my other recommendation would be to reach out to people like yourself, not therapists. Parents probably don't have a lot of time or mental energy for like a psychotherapy, but what they need is a mental fitness coach. We go to the gym to get our bodies healthy, to help our mind, right? And so I think that the type of work that you do in the world is so powerful, because these families, these parents can get great help and structure their day and their mindset and their fitness to not just create better skills for themselves, but find serenity and peace in the chaos.
Coaching.
Yeah. Like I can understand that, because even though like people think like, I don't have time for this, right? But that's the worst answer, in a sense, like the best and the worst answer, because you would never have time for it, because we never put our needs first. We always put, and I can imagine being a parent of an autism child, you always put their needs first. You always go last. And that's why they get nervous breakdown. That's why they lose it. And yes, with my coaching, what I do is I actually help people to like the difference. Like I love the difference. I heard that like months ago, difference between mental fitness and resilience. Parents of autism are resilient. Like they get knocked down, they get tired, they get back up, they do it again the next day. They do it again the next day. No matter what, they're going to put their child first. They're going to get back up and they're going to do it. But they get knocked out. They're tired and they're exhausted. The difference with mental fitness is that I equip you to be able to avoid the punch. So whatever happened in your life, you'll have less impact on your mental health than you would normally. So your kids put a tantrum, it's okay. You don't get affected. You don't get drained. You don't get, oh my God, what am I going to do? Another one is like, hey, it's all good. Like you assess things in a more peaceful and serene way. And you're able to just like take a step back. And I teach tools that allow people to actually be able to do that, to be able to have blameless discernment. Just say, hey, I should have done that perhaps, but I didn't. But how can I do things different in the future, right? Like how can I react differently? Okay, I lost it today with little Tommy. Okay, that's awful. I feel bad about myself, but hey, I'm only human. Next time, things will be better, and I'll react differently, and things will work out, and we'll have a better, happy ending at the end of the day, as opposed to both crying and all that stuff, right? Because I can't just imagine, like, because people, they love their children and they want to give them everything they can, but too often to the detriment of their own self, right?
Yes.
And I think another thing that perhaps we can do after the pandemic, all of us, is to look at the silver linings. There are some, and we know there are.
Yeah.
Maybe not easy at all, but there are silver linings. And in terms of autism, thank you.
It's all good.
Of autism,
Yeah.
it is looking at, for example, no social skills for a year and a half. No drama, no nothing, no public speaking, no interaction. And for special needs, that's critical.
Yeah.
So, what can we do on a functional level to bring those things back into the lives of autistic young
people? Yeah.
people?
And coming back, like I heard that most schools now are open and are welcoming children into the classroom. Here in Canada, I imagine the US the same. And I imagine there's a lot of stress for everyone around just to get back to school for an autism child that haven't been, you kind of learn. It's like going to the gym, right? You go to the gym, you work out for every day for your life. And then all of a sudden you don't work out for a year and a half. And then you try to go back to the gym, and that's going to hurt,
It's going to hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, some young children and young adults really had a hard time dealing with not going to school, and others did better. And I think that another way in which we need to really respect and see the person is that individual going to do better by going to school or being homeschooled? And if they're going to do better being homeschooled,
They should be home.
they should be, and we need to find a way to support these families to do so.
Wow, that's awesome. So any ending positive outgoing things? So what's happening? So where do you girls, is there any way people can reach you, buy your book or anything like that? So if you want to give me all that information later, so if people want to know more.
Sure.
Absolutely. We both have personal Facebook pages, but we also have a Journey to the Soul of Autism Facebook page. So that's I actually do a live 10 to 15 minute live Facebook every Monday and Thursday at 11:45 a.m. Pacific time.
Oh, wonderful.
And so that's where I share stories, and I just have conversations, or, just as a journey to the soul of autism, new perspectives in autism. But definitely go to that Facebook page, reach out to me in Messenger. I believe on my personal page, my phone number is there if you want to call or text me. Texting is always better because I'm usually on the phone all day, but but I'll always get back to you.
And for those of you who really want to know about our book and follow up on our play, all you need to do truly is call us. Call us, and that one of the best ways to reach me is by texting if you have questions about the play, and or email. Either one.
Or if you just want to talk, go to a Journey to the Soul of Autism page and talk to me in Messenger.
Yeah.
I can't do a lot of that on the phone, and I can't promise I'll respond right away, but within a handful of days at the latest, if you want to dialogue with me as a parent or somebody on the spectrum, just to have a conversation, I'm open, and I want to learn. I want to be there to help people, but I'm also, I've always said I'm a student. I might be a credentialed teacher, but in life, I'm a student.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's so much to learn. There's such a big spectrum of parenting and needs and people around, and I can understand. So what we'll do is I'll put in the chat, Michelle, just stay here after we end the call, and then we'll get that information from you, and I'll put it in our chat in all our broadcast, and this is going to go on YouTube also, so it's going to be in the comment on YouTube. Great. And then that's going to be awesome. I think you girls can help a lot of people, and I think it's definitely needed. People need to have that in their life for themselves as parents and for their children, and see how they can help their children.
Thank you. And same back to you, Denise. I know that you can help a lot of people. And my message to parents, or even anybody living on the spectrum, don't try to do this alone.
Yeah.
Get help. Get a fitness.
It really takes a village for this.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as much as the children need to be supported, but the parents do for sure.
Yes.
Because it's a big journey.
Big journey.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate Michelle and Robin. Please stay, don't go away. But we are going to go away as a whole. And please comment in the chat. Just pass your comment and say hello. And you'll find Michelle and Robin's information in there too. Thank you and have a wonderful day. And next week, we have a call next week with, let me see who's there next week, with Diane Parnell. And I'll be very interesting. Then Diane is working also with, she's a coach and she's helping a little bit in the same line of me as wellness coach to help people be, better with themselves. So stay tuned for next week with the call with Diane. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.